Age of Mythology's largest prize pool for a competitive tournament was actually over 20 years ago in 2003. A $35,000 tournament was played in Seoul, South Korea. Played on the original game, not even the Titans expansion, as it wasn't released yet. To put into context, the current tournaments for Retold are around $10,000. If you calculate for inflation, it would be around $60k today. This wasn't the first tournament for Age of Mythology, and the two finalists, Fire and Schultz, had both won tournaments before this one. These players could be considered two of the best players around this time. I actually stumbled across this tournament randomly from a YouTube recommendation with the original casting, which I'll put a link to if you want to watch it for yourself, but the quality is absolutely horrendous. But luckily, Age of Mythology players keep such a good archive of all their old games, so I actually managed to find a recorded game so we can watch it on the original Age of Mythology. Let's just appreciate how nice this UI is, and maybe it's not the most up-to-date, but oh, it's so good. Now let's get into the game. Here we are in the game, a game from 2003, which is pretty wild. So it's I am Schultz. I'm going to call him Schultz here. I hope that's how we say it against PG Fire, which we'll call Fire. And straight away, Schultz is dropping that vision down nice and early, like the AI does. Maybe to see which way the priest is going. Maybe that's why. So you'll see both players here are set. And basically on the original Age of Mythology, not Titans, but the original AoM, set was OP. I believe it's because of the animal conversions that the animals are just so good. So we're on the map Alfheim here, and also you'll be hearing this spamming thing quite a lot. There was no military auto queue, there was no auto queue of any kind, and unfortunately that's just what happens. There's also no spectator, so when the actual original people watched the game, the original shoutcasters, they just watched from the player's point of view, so they didn't have like a third player spectating. We've also got pretty wild that there's no hunting dogs here, so there's no hunting dogs that side, but Fire this side does move over to the outside hunt. Now if I go to his perspective, we'll be able to see he's got hunting dogs, right? We can't see, and he hasn't spent the resources on it. So he does gather slightly faster from the elks, right? That was just kind of the thing that used to happen. But mainly because you get that hunting dogs, you get that really quick upgrade, and everything's great. Unless it was different in the original Age of Mythology, I might be wrong, but in the Titans, that's what everybody did. And very nice find from Fire. Back in the olden times, you couldn't just have loads of hunts sat in your base. You couldn't have loads of berries. You couldn't have loads of chickens. Even Fire had nothing. Now we get kind of treated to a much nicer spawn, but his chickens are over here. His berries are all the way over here. He has spotted them, and his local hunt sources here. There was a few elks on it. Something that also used to happen is sometimes you would get spawns like this. You get like 3 caribou, or sometimes like 2. We can see ones. It looks like there's spawns of 3. Sometimes it's 2, and it's fine if you're Egyptian. You can move over, build a granary. It's free. But if you're someone like someone like Greek, where they have to spend 50 wood to drop their granary down, and then the caribou just waddle over, and it's just absolutely horrendous. But we are seeing both players finding the apes over here. Schultz's priest is actually getting attacked by the ape of Set, and Schultz does manage to run away. And it's basically a who can get more. Who can get more animals situation. Unfortunately, they're not coloured either, unless you highlight them, so we can't see whose. But one's chasing the other, and yeah, so they have 4 attack in the arcade cage, whereas nowadays in Retold, any set animal that gets converted is less than 1 attack, so it's completely different. We see have 2 attack, and we see the temple going up for Fire here, and I assume the temple is going to be going up for Schultz at some point. There he goes. Don't want to press F10. That's the wrong button. I can't remember what the button to get. That's it, to get the time up. There we go. It's F11 on that one. So that is Schultz. I thought that he had enough to go up to the next stage, but he definitely doesn't. Oh, it's because he just spammed loads and loads of villagers out. Assuming he will cancel those at some point, moving up to his elks. We just have to appreciate how nice the spawns are now, because these spawns are awful. All these villagers bumping into each other. Probably not the most efficient there, but I mean, this game had only been out about a year prior, so it kind of makes sense that the efficiencies aren't there. But Schultz here, he's got all the animals, or at least they're all together in the middle of the map. Fire has some as well. And this is what makes it so good. I mean, look how many animals there are already. And they're all so strong. How is there so many? It's insane. Should have been watching a priest to see how long it takes him. Schultz is going to be able to get his priest back, though. And then Fire is actually, surprisingly, going for this obelisk. Not something you used to see players really do, even back just before Retold came out. Dropping an obelisk on your opponent's town center to make sure they're not getting it. It is slightly different for the old game, though, as you can't grab town centers until the heroic age. But we do see Ptah is the god of choice for fire, and then Schultz, I assume he's going through Ptah as well. Yeah, so I believe we're going to see why Ptah was so good in the old game. I haven't properly watched this. I just made sure that the replay worked because I had some kind of troubles with it. But Shifting Sands used to work very differently. We're seeing a monument to the soldiers come up. Also, we've got 13 favor in the bank this side. And this side we've got 7. So both players are getting their favor in. Maybe use it for some wadgets. Maybe that's the kind of play. And maybe this is why we see that obelisks don't really come up. Although he has cancelled it. I don't know why you wouldn't just take that one down. Why not? But Pharaoh going forward. There is a relic here. What's... Spiegel of Shingles greatly increases house hit points. Oh, look how tanky that was against the Pharaoh. Villagers are still the counter. Using his vision now, potentially to Shifting Sands something. And we do see Shifting Sands onto the Pharaoh and 3 villagers. That is absolutely brutal. He can Shifting Sands back if he wants to. He has got a Shifting Sands. Is that what he's going to do? You can either shift... Or if he brings his villagers over, he can Shifting Sands them as well. Just Shifting Sands back. And Cleopatra doesn't get Brug back. Oh, that feels bad. So still, the Shifting Sands is going to hit the Pharaoh, and he is going to go down to these 3 watchtowers, unfortunately. But that bit where Fire was bringing over his villagers, he definitely didn't want to leave them there to get shifted also. Armory going up, it's free. You might as well drop it down. Nice to see players doing that back then as well. And then barracks coming down. 3 barracks coming down this side, and then if we go over to this side, the blue player, are there any barracks going down? Just an armory, potentially fast heroic. So if we're going compared to what players do now, so an Egyptian mirror is you basically build no barracks units. Some players might build 1 barracks to get a couple of spearmen out to do some raids, but that is kind of it. But I mean, this was a very, very different game where you couldn't grab town centers until the 3rd age, so it kind of makes sense. There's all these units that are already for each player. There's no way that you'd be able to get that in Retold. I mean, it is 7 minutes in. Maybe you can, but what is going to be the units that they're actually picking? So it looks like they're going for slingers, or at least Fire's going for slingers. Any barracks being jumped on this side? No. Can we move over to... So it's Schultz's perspective. So it looks like he's going to go heroic age. Dropping some farms down even. I assume he's got the upgrade. You won't be able to see upgrades, will you? I assume he's got plow. Some of these old replays. I mean, it is nice we can see these old replays, but they're a little bit buggy. So you won't be able to see the upgrades very, very well. But Slinger's going to come in, have a little look. It's crazy. You can also see the view lock of where they're actually looking, which is just so mad. Let's see what Fire's looking at. So looking at some barracks, deciding to get some of those out. He's put a spot over there for them to go into. Slinger's moving back, even with all the Slingers do absolutely no damage to these apes of Set, but they're there anyway. I really do wonder what the Slingers are about. What's the reason for Slingers? I mean, Slingers are good against your opponent's Slingers. Maybe that's it, but I mean, even the Chariot Archers do outrange Slingers. So you can just get Heroic Age, drop a Amygdala Stronghold down next to your settlement and be absolutely fine. Slinger is going to go down to the absolute wild animal spam. Slinger's going to have a look. If the animals catch these out, though, like, they're dead. They are gone. Absolutely gone. Animals defending very nicely. Even there's some animals that haven't been caught. There are wolves. There are everything. Priest here. The priest can't attack these, but depending on how quickly they can actually... Oh, snipes a priest. Yeah, the Slingers are pretty good. Look at him, almost taking the Pharaoh down. And then we're going to see a bit of an attack here. Yeah, the priest can't actually do any damage because he tries to convert them back. But depending on how fast the converting works, he might be able to pick one off. Maybe if he can micro to one that's on the back would be a pretty good idea. But all the slingers here paying dividends for fire. And he comes out on top, taking all the animals away. Whereas Schultz, is he just going to the next stage? Yeah, so he's going through Nepthes. So he will have the ancestors if he wants to drop it. But if he was going up to the next stage, he should have just held back. But it's easier said than done. It's easy with a bit of 20 years of experience over these guys. Now triple barracks coming up. Considering this costs about the same as a set Migdal. A set Migdals then would have been 300 gold, I think. So going for a siege works. So siege towers are good against slingers. That is definitely something that is the case. There's some free animals that come through. 14 attack on that crocodile of Set. And moving back to this side, what's Fire doing? Is he going up to the next stage, or is he just going to sit with his slingers? So he's going to try and slinger those giraffes. I mean, the giraffes are just going a little bit too in. Are they just missing? Oh no, they're going after the crocodile. Now the giraffe takes down each giraffe. All of them are just going to go down to the slingers. Priest microing away very nicely. But they are going to have to deal with the siege towers coming in. Spearman. So Spearman Siege Tower. Not a bad combo. I mean, it's not something we really see now. I think, well, especially not in this matchup anyway. Normally players within this matchup, if we're talking the modern game, you want to be getting out a Migdal Stronghold and you want to be getting your camels, your chariots. I think camels were nowhere near as good in the old game as they are now. But still, camels are the unit for your Egyptian mirrors. But the spearmen, they are going to be able to tank a little bit. Spearmen do a lot more damage than the slingers. And the siege tower will be able to tank. I think Fire's just waiting for his Nepthes to come in. And then there'll be an Ancestors on both sides. Town Center coming up, right in the middle of the map. Yes, the classic bug, which happened all the time. If you bring your villagers over with the Pharaoh, they just don't they just don't want to empower. But we have nice minions being dropped down, the ancestors from the blue player that's been in the heroic age for a while. These ancestors spawn pretty quickly. Pharaoh should be able to come and deal with those. We've got a Pharaoh on this side dealing with it as well. A priest that should be going down pretty quickly. But I mean, there's just so many slingers here. Just back up, sit next to your town center. Should be fine. Siege tower coming in. Villagers. I don't believe villagers had a bonus in the OG game. They did in the Titans, but that goes down nonetheless. And all these units for the blue player here, Schultz, is just going to go down. Siege works as a response. Makes sense against the town center, right? I mean, also, siege tower versus siege tower. I mean, it counters itself, I guess. Goldmine probably about to finish. Maybe we'll have to see from this side. But it looks like, yeah, 280 left. He's got one this side. No Migdal, though. I don't think this town center's actually producing villagers either. I think he's just kind of panicked. Doesn't really have the most there we go. Has realized that it wasn't producing villagers. So if you're not going to produce villagers, I mean, it's the same as now, but if you're not going to produce villagers, just get a Migdal. It's just better. But I'm sure Fire here, I mean, he's got all the military advantage in the world. If he's going to bring his siege towers in, it'll be absolutely great. Slinger's going to have a look just in case something's happening. If we look at the fog of war, maybe we can look at the view lock also. So Schultz is He is multitasking, absolutely multitasking. And then PG Fire's going for a town center. He's over here. I think his view lock's not working as well. Maybe that's a little bit bugged. We see the mercenary cavalry coming out. Oh, I want to go from his perspective. We're all over the shop. They used to be insane. Basically, they just, when that yellow bar goes down, they die. But they're going to lose all their HP before then, so it really doesn't matter. So they are in to defend. They're a really good counter to these siege towers. But Spearmen already in response to counter the mercenary cavalry, expecting the mercenary cavalry spam. Slinger's pretty good micro, to be honest. If we can move over here, can we see how he's actually microing them? He's bringing over his Pharaoh, and he is microing onto the Slingers nicely. Also get some crocodiles out of his Pharaoh. More mercenary cavalry coming out. But the slingers, they're just not really going down, even though the town center is here. I think the Pharaoh could even just empower it, get more arrow damage would be a good shout. But I mean, he does do a lot of damage versus the crocodiles. That they're not considered myth units though, which is interesting. The Pharaoh goes down, there's going to be a stop to all these crocodiles. And it looks like the red set player is going to absolutely take out this town center. He's getting one of his own down the bottom also, so eco-wise can just keep pulling ahead. And the gold mines, if we just look around at these gold mines, they're so weird. Right in the corners. There is 2 in the middle though. So these, one Migdal stronghold here would be very, very nice to defend those. So actually this settlement was a decent grab for the map pressure, but it just didn't have a Migdal behind it. But it just seems that these players don't value Migdals. I mean, I didn't play competitively in 2003. I was 10. I played against the AI, so who knows? Actually, probably just played the campaign then. But anyway, the blue player Schultz is getting raided. There's just too many units from fire. I'm not sure what Schultz can really do here. I think he needs to get some raids off of his own. He's got a decent amount of spearmen. Could send the spearmen down here. Not that he knows that that's a thing. We move over to his perspective. Yeah, he's not really looking at anywhere else. It's kind of what happens when you're on the back foot. There's not much you can do. The siege tower is tanking quite nicely. The spearmen taking out the opposing spearmen. Scorpion men out. That's something also that the original game didn't have, is your myth units didn't spawn for free. You actually had to build these guys, and they're really expensive. Yeah, 25 favor. In the Titans, you get cheaper myth units that also you spawn one for free. So it's like a completely different game basically. But Scorpion men so strong. Cleopatra coming over does want to deal with it. Villagers going ring around the rosy. Slingers do eventually take those down. Maybe the villagers can take down the siege towers. Maybe they can do something there. They are going for this gold mine though. Gold mine spawning really close this time as well. It's just such a funny thing. Can the Scorpion men get some damage done? Yeah, but the Pharaoh just does so much damage. The Spearman needs to jump onto this guy. Maybe some jukes for this Scorpion man. He is trying, but I believe Pharaohs have 100% accuracy. Yeah, and down it goes. Town center grabbed for fire, and he's just in a commanding spot here. I think he's pushed back the blue player too much. And what else can he do? Even getting mercenary cavalry out of his front town center whenever he wants to. Can definitely spam out more if he chooses to, but I think he's absolutely fine either way. And that's no gold for Schultz. Still the same situation now. You gold starve your opponent, all is well, and Schultz does actually resign there. And both players had a very similar strat. It was just fast heroic from Schultz, but then didn't really make the most of it with putting Migdals down. That's kind of what you want with the with going up to the next stage, to get Migdals down. But maybe it's because you wanted the town center. But these guys also did play more games, so I'm going to get those up now. So let's move on to that. So yes, we are back again. We're going to remove the view lock. It's everyone's favorite map. It's Mediterranean, and hopefully we're going to see some pretty sick micro. Both players, there's no god diversity. They're still going in with the set. Let's see how quickly these boars actually get converted over. I believe that's one of the main differences. It's just the boars just they convert so quick compared to now. I'm just going to move over here just to see if this dock is going up. So we do have a dock for the red player fire here, and then down the bottom we also have Schultz going for a dock, as we can see now around my mouse cursor. Maybe it isn't super quick. Maybe it's just because they're really strong. Let's move down here. We have the dock. We have the pigs coming in right at the start, which means you don't have to build a granary. We also have the villager going for the straggler tree, which means you get the Pharaoh empowerment, which is pretty wild. Nah, they do still take a while. That was what, 50 seconds, so still quite a while. And both players are going to want to go for the fish. Now, one issue with this map, I mean, with every map, we saw the spawns with the last map. You can get some really dodgy fish spawns. Looks like PG Fire here has decent spawns, and over on the other side, I think Schultz is fine. If he put his dock here, it would be just as fine, but you don't know until you're on the map, basically. And both players going to get a lot of scouting going on with their hyenas. Over to Fire, he's also doing the same thing. And I believe, yeah, he'll just be spamming out fishing ships whenever he can. I assume that one's going to be coming out soon. Yep, he was absolutely spamming that bad boy down. And just starting to go for the pigs. He could move over to these chickens. He's got loads of chickens, but then you have to put the granary down, and he's just deciding to get a small amount of wood income instead. Probably going for quite a fast advance time. Now, something very different for vanilla, which is what they call this game, compared to Retold or even the Titans, is I believe you can't garrison fishing ships in, or you can garrison them, but the docks don't have any attack. So if you're playing Retold and your fishing ships get attacked, you just garrison in and then the dock fires back. But that isn't a thing in the original game. So I assume the players want to advance as soon as possible, which means basically get as much gold as you can for the temple, get a small amount of wood out so that you're actually getting more food from the fishing ships. Don't overcommit to it. And then just get as much food in as you possibly can, even bringing in that boar over here, just so he doesn't have to lure them in. It takes quite a while to actually bring those over. And we see Schultz doing the same thing. He absolutely is. So this must have been the meta at the time, and I believe if we were playing this game now, it would be very, very similar 20 years later, which is pretty mad. So it looks pretty well optimized. Even coming back to garrison the fishing ships in to get your 400 food, which means he's going up for a 4-minute advance time on this map on Mediterranean, which is very, very good. And just behind, about 4:10, so a bit of idle time on that town center as well. Going up through Anubis. So Anubis for this side, did Schultz also go Anubis? Yeah, I assume Anubis is probably because the serpents can be used on the sea. It's something we still see to this day, and it's very, very strong. It's something where players have kind of said that water maps, you really need some of these god powers that just makes the water map so much easier. So those are your restorations, your plague of serpents, anything which gives you a big advantage, carnivora even. Those are big ones for the water. Schultz coming to have a look. And it looks like the players, we're on the wrong perspective, but I assume he's not building any fishing ships out. No, so he's getting enough for some Kebnets. So they're Kebnets coming through, fishing ships coming through for Schultz. No, he's going for some Kebnets. So because he is the first player, he will be able to see, he will be able to get a little bit of advantage on the water. But then his second dock was up slightly later and doesn't have quite the wood income. So I think it's going to be pretty equal on the water. These games always came down to water. Basically, water was everything, because what players do nowadays is if you lose the water, it isn't a big deal. You just go grab your town center and you're fine. Whereas what they would have had to do now is if you lose the water, you then go heroic age and then put your town centers up, and you're just so far behind, it just isn't good. Also, the only boats that can be built are actually Kebnets. See if we can look at some of the view lock. I think PG5's view lock is broken, probably because it came from Schultz's perspective, but we can see the blue player doing a bit of micro here, moving back, pulling back. Both players doing very similar micro, actually trying to let's just move that back, trying to run away, and Fire's micro is fire. He's just running away. The arrows will eventually hit. Moves back this one as well. This is micro that we don't get to see anymore, really, just because the dynamic with the ships is completely different. You get 3 types of boats, they all counter in like a triangle, whereas this was just Kebnets and it was all about your archer ship micro. And Schultz doing well. Both players actually doing pretty well. So if we see these, I think Plague of Serpents coming down on the backside for Fire, so to put some damage on those fishing ships. So the Kebnets coming back for Schultz. And potentially might lose some fishing ships. Yeah, we don't see these garrison in. Do the snakes not actually go for the fishing ships, which is kind of interesting. That's something that I didn't know. These players can move back, and he's going to snipe down this Kebnet. Does manage to pull it back, but then can just refocus on something else. Schultz definitely has the advantage in numbers, or at least so far. There are a couple of Kebnets garrisoned in the dock, and we do see that there's no damage from those docks, so it just completely changes the dynamic. But he's still trying to get some bears. Really nice micro from Fire. It's the sort of thing where if a player's doing this micro against you and you're not paying attention, you can lose everything. You need to pay attention the entire time. And maybe that's why they changed it for Retold. just because you don't want to be losing out because of that. But I really like the big micro fights that this actually kind of caused. Cabinets, they are going to try and take care of the sea snakes. So it looks like the sea snakes did get used for blue also. I just didn't see where those got dropped. Maybe they did the same thing. I just completely missed that one. But oh well. Kind of what happens. We also have the blue player getting a big advantage where the blue is so hard to spot. This micro is also... Oh, we see the absolutely huge drag in, and then Schultz runs away. Something that players did, which is a lot easier micro, is they would grab a couple of boats and move them back, but we don't see either of these players doing it because you just lose out on so much DPS. You also need to click individually on each boat to see how much HP it's got if it's not being attacked. So like this one's half HP, this one's almost dead. So you need to do so much more micro than you really need to do now. So just click to see exactly how much HP these boats have got, even how much HP your boats have. There were mods that came later on, but I mean, this is like a year after the game came out, so I don't expect the players to have any mods like that. Oh, it's such a low HP one. And we'll be able to run away. Nah, they're easier to hit when they're closer to the boats. And these snakes are getting so annoying. Bringing over his priest, but Fire put it in the perfect spot here where the priest is kind of struggling to get into range. He does have 12 range, but it seems like it isn't enough. And actually, the priest is going to get sniped so quickly by those boats. Yeah, boats against human units, the boats win every single time. The boats are about the power of 3 normal units. You can see that they shoot 3 arrows, and they have about 300 HP against the 100 HP of a normal unit. So you could just say that a boat is worth 3 human units, basically. I think either player is really going for any barracks. They're not going for any raids even. I've just been keeping an eye on the minimap, and it looks like both players are just keeping their animals back, which is pretty interesting. They're all attacking different boats. So much small amounts of micro that you really need to do. Fire is going to lose that one. Ah, Schultz, he changed target too early, and then this one got a little bit of extra damage done. And I think Fire is getting more boats out. Whether his eco is just slightly better. It looks like Schultz has so much wood in the bank, but he's not actually training. He doesn't have enough gold. Needs to get some upgrades maybe. Again, really hard to see. Also, this villager just hanging out. Probably needs to build that house. I assume that's what she's there for. Let's move over to Fire's perspective. And yeah, he's just constantly training. He's even getting an extra dock out because he needs to spend his resources. He still has quite a lot of wood income as well. So the boats from memory cost 100 wood, 50 gold. Yeah, I thought so. So it is more wood, but you just need to make sure that you're getting villagers over to that gold mine. Fire, he's slightly ahead on the score, but nothing crazy. But if he can catch out some boats like this, does manage to take down a fishing ship, which you really don't want to rebuild the fishing ships right now. You need the docks to be just producing cabinets. This was always the game plan. And I think there's just so many red boats here. The blue boats, they are coming in, and this is the kind of group micro that I was saying about, that is so much easier, but actually your DPS is just so much lower. But there was quite a few low HP boats there, so I can kind of see why he went for that one. Focus firing down the right boats. I believe this is what AoE 2 still is like, where there's one type of boat, or at least there's one type of boat that players kind of go for, and a huge pullback micro there. There's a part of me that kind of wishes this would come back, and then a part of me that likes the triangle system. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like the triangle where like you get access to all 3 boats in the classical age, or whether you'd prefer to go back to this? I think this is much more skill based, but then you end up with some kind of long cabinet matches. Ooh. And these does manage to correct his micro, does Fire. Trying to get another dock out. Still pretty equal. I mean, Fire is definitely in the lead on the score, but I don't think there's too much there isn't too much between them. The third dock was up for fire quite a while ago, so he can outproduce. So we got 58 pop to 50 pop, so it's really, really close. It could just be players forgetting to build villagers, because it's very difficult to keep your villager production up if you're constantly fighting. Maybe that's just coming from an Age of Mythology Retold player where it's on auto queue, but... And then the red ones are taking down Schultz's cabinet, trying to get some cheeky fire back, but does manage to pull that one just in time. Also getting some harassment on the fishing ship, so I don't think there's any fishing ships left, which nice snipes from Fire, whereas Fire still has his fishing ships going, so that's probably where a lot of the score difference is really from. Also just the pure kill death. Needs to bring these back if he wants to go for this one. I think the red Fire is going to win the water, but whether or not blue wants to try and go for some kind of land push or not, that is kind of the case. Oops, accidentally clicks off of it and recorded game ended. Yeah, that is kind of what used to happen, is like if you lose the water, you just lose, which is a shame. So I'm glad it did get changed in that respect. If you guys want to watch any more old games, I've managed to get my old Age of Mythology working and Titan, so let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.